Alrighty, thank you. Thank you all for joining. I got our brother Freedman's journal. He's always a person that's frequent in the chat and also the comment section of my channel and others. I've seen him, I think, in other places as well. Um, I'll let him introduce himself because I don't know much about you. I'm not gonna lie, but we're here to talk about social programming and going into that and kind of fleshing that out and just having a conversation about it and our thoughts on that subject matter. So I'll let you introduce yourself and also your channel. If you want to go ahead and plug it, let me know and we can do that.
Okay. Oh yeah, I go by the moniker Freedman's Journal. Just a guy in the space to give my opinion, trying to be heard and trying to offer um, any wisdom that I can and anything extra for the brothers, speaking from, older. I'm 48 now, I've done a few things, been in my career a while, just something to just to give back, right? To give my perspective. So, husband, father, IT professional, so I'm able to work from home and dabble in real estate. And so I've got that, excuse me, that income stream and, able to kind of touch on that. And that's maybe what interested me about your stream earlier was that you're driving around your property, and I was like,
Yeah,
okay, that's cool. He's got that. And, that is home ownership is definitely a step in the right direction, right. For everybody, right. Before, black people trying to, build wealth, leave something, leave a legacy. So, yeah, so I was just real interested in that.
yeah, and that's the important thing. Oh, peace, anti gravity. Thank you for joining. Um, and that's the important thing is leaving something behind, and not just your marker on the world in terms of what you've given and who you are and so on and so forth. Some of the things that are like being remembered by others. One moment, yeah, you can come in. I'm just on this thing, okay? I know. I'll be back out there. Thank you. All right. Yeah, yeah. If it's not locked, okay. Sorry, my mom said I left the light on in the shop. But leaving a legacy and then also providing for my mom, you have your family, providing for your family in more ways than one instead of just for instance doing investing so that if anything happens to you at this point I have probably about, even with this market, I have probably about a little bit over half of my yearly salary in assets that I can liquidate.
Okay.
And how many people can say that? How many people want to say that? And what do you need to do to get there? Um, and this is where I believe things like social programming has been something. Keep it tucky, peace to you, brother. Social
Peace.
programming, yeah, social programming is something that has, I think, infected us all in one way or another in terms of the decisions that we make. Do you get the car and clothes and the shoes and other things before you get your first your first stock? Like
Hmm.
what is your priority and why is it the what for me it was like a big like fight. Like I bought the 7 series while living at home with moms, and
Hmm.
like you live in South Florida and you're spending so much money on living expenses and distractions. And moving out here, I've subtracted the distractions, which is something that I came up with earlier while talking with BGS in the previous stream. And it's like we do all of these things, and it's like you start to ask yourself, why am I doing it for? Like it's deeper than just trying to get sexual access. It's more or less like, okay, I'm doing these things because I think I need to quote unquote prove something, but to who? And
Right.
part of the social programming. And I'll let you take it from there.
Well, I agree. There are lots of factors that can um, just get into people's head, right, and lead them down a path of consumerism and of not wealth building and just doing things ass backwards, right? It is and a lot of that in the community is a part of that, right? Designer this, designer that, a rapper wears this or that. And, all of a sudden that's what everybody needs and wants, right? And there is a lack of focus on the future. This immediate wealth, and I mean, even with dating this and that, right? A dude's got to have money. Well, young dudes don't have money,
Yeah,
right?
it's crazy that almost to a certain extent you're in your 20s, but somehow you actually have the dream that you're going to have a Lamborghini. And it's just like, bro, are you serious? Like,
Right. It's
how?
ridiculous. There's no focus on foundation, right? Who you are, where you want to go, how do
Mhm.
you achieve these things, right? How do you set yourself up for a career? um because how do you make yourself useful economically, right? So that you can have a career, so that you can have the capital to do something else, right? To start to get out of the rat race. And as you're explaining what you did getting out of South Florida, that was always something, point of emphasis for someone who wanted to have a family, right? It's real tough to play the urban consumerism game and have a family, right?
Yep.
It's real hard to do both, especially at a young age, right? So
Yep.
you're flossing for a woman, and then okay, now you got a woman. Now what do you do? Because you don't have anything else,
Right.
right? Where's your skill set? So
Mhm.
where's your home? Where's your foundation? So
Yeah, and then you
um,
have also the just not only the consumerism, but also the competition of others in the space. I mean, how can you compete with How can you compete with the DMs? I almost How can you compete with the DMs when a woman who actually, again, staying in South Florida and dealing with women down there, it's like, how can I compete with a dude that is literally offering to buy anything off of this person's Amazon wish list, with no connection whatsoever? They're just in the DMs. Maybe they want a phone call. In some cases, they don't. They just want to do it because you're beautiful, or some BS like that. It's like, how can you compete with that? And you're in front of this girl in her face, and you're still not enough because it's almost like you're fighting a phantom. It's
Yeah,
crazy.
there is there's a lot of dysfunction in the way we choose mates and the way women choose mates and hypergamy and so forth, and it has been exacerbated. The only way to play is to not the only way to win is to not play. you
Mhm.
know um Let those people eat themselves. You
That's hard
have
when
to
you're
build
horny,
yourself
though.
first. I mean, it is hard. I mean, for a younger dude, I'd be like, yeah, uh,
Mhm.
have sex as necessary, bang as necessary, and then work on yourself, right?
Right.
Basically, I mean, that's right. Young dudes are gonna want to have sex, right? Young dudes are gonna want to get it in, but
Mhm.
you're gonna have to temper that with building yourself. I mean, there's just no way around it nowadays. You can't, if you want to do like blue collar work, you still might have to chase it. Even if you get into specialty construction, it's like, okay, well, now you got to go to South Georgia for 6 weeks. Okay, now you're on like a a telephone crew putting up telephone poles. Okay, so you're
Yeah.
all over, you
Especially if you
know.
work for FP&L and all those other
Oh
places,
yeah,
especially during hurricanes and natural disasters. Good
yep,
money, but you will not be home.
exactly. So go ahead and chase that. You come home if you find a woman that you can vibe with or whatnot,
Mhm.
great. If not, like I said, just bang as necessary and then work on yourself. I
Yeah.
mean, that's what it
Yeah,
is.
and that's the hard part. Like I said, it's hard when you're horny, no pun intended. But it's hard because you really, like, in that rush, but the atmosphere or the environment has changed to where you're going to have to build up yourself. This is why I say things, whether people agree with it or not. Tricking should always be on the table.
Yeah,
When you have that and you have that understanding that, hey, listen, I can go and get it drained at any point in time. I can have a meal, get my balls drained, and then be home by 12. It's just like, but you don't have to go through all that. But with that, what you're paying for in terms of sexual access, you're not getting in some of the more intimate feel to it, where you have that woman that's close to you, that actually cares about you, that feminine energy, if you want it, so on and so forth. So those are the things that we all have to understand. But this is why I tell people, this is why, like, even my nephew or other people, I say, hey, listen, man, have it on the table. Know that it's on the table, because it also helps you value that person a little bit more as well. Oh man, okay. Well, I got a whole bunch
yeah.
of
Here come the bots.
yeah. Oh, okay, cool. There's only one. Good. Um, And I think that's important. Now, that's also a very disgusting thing in my mind, or perverted actually is a better word, because now you're looking at the perversion of, relationships, sexual access and things like that. And then how does that, like, factor into the programming? Am I programmed by thinking that tricking is okay? Like, thinking about things like that. And that's what I kind of go through sometimes.
It was funny. Obsidian was on a show the other night, and he was talking about. Oh no, it wasn't Obsidian. It was Kevin Samuels. But basically, the quote was, why in the community is tricking seen as so bad? Why is there shame around it? And really, I think it is because, if you have to pay for it, as a black man, it means your dick's no good. Your dick don't work, right?
Yeah, well, that's
Because
the propaganda.
right. So, but we've been conditioned to think that, right? We've
Mhm.
been conditioned to think that, our greatest ideal as a man is be able to please a woman, right? And if you can't
Yeah.
please a woman for free, you can't get it for free, then something's wrong with you.
Yes,
You
as
can't
Ed
do
would
that.
also. Ed often repeats the phrase "bitch broke." Like, men will, get on you because you're bitch broke. And BGS, I think, states it like, he put it into frame for me. He's like, well, if prostitution was legal, then marriage wouldn't make any sense. So like that's a part of the programming, or I would even go further to say propaganda of it all.
Right. Yeah. So, people just got to get out of that, and be able to walk away, from just from that attitude. I mean, because you got to do what you got to do. I mean, the landscape has changed, so you have to adapt to it, right? And that's part of the process.
And I think
So,
that's important too. So for even me personally, this week alone, like, two women just down the drain. Just like Monday, talking on the phone with a woman, and she called me insensitive because she's just saying some stuff, and I was just like, "What? That doesn't make any sense." And then she's like, she's getting mad because she said, what did she say? So the quick story, she was like, she said, "Yeah, I gotta help out my sister or something like that because the grandparents on the father's side won't help out." And I was just like, well, why would they? The father's there, right? Like, they weren't in the room. That usual, like, they were in the room when things was going down. She kind of like gave me
mhm.
that. And then I was just like, yeah, well, why would you do that? And then she's like, well, he's not. I was like, he's there, right? She's like, yeah. And I was like, all right, cool. He could take care of it. And he's like, well, he's not in a position to do so. And I was just like, what? Like, why? So what? So you are? And I just started
Yeah.
laughing about it. And she called me insensitive. And I didn't like take it to heart, but it was just like one of those, like, no, we're not doing this. You're gonna call me insensitive just for like logic or whatever. Like, just leave it alone. Because it's just gonna get worse, like,
Right.
if that's the tip of the iceberg you see, there's a lot underneath the water. Because I'm a semi asshole. But there was that, and then last night, was it last night? Saturday, no, Friday. I don't know, like Friday, yeah, Friday night. Um, Chick like literally answered a FaceTime with a whole nother dude, and the dude was running game while I'm in the car, and I'm like, is this real? So I was like, hey, listen, and I was real quiet because I let it go on for like 3, maybe 5 minutes. And I was like, hey, listen, man, like, I'm gonna catch you later. I'll talk to you later. Right? She gets out of the car. And I was like, all right, bye. She was like, don't say bye, just say see you later. Because I was like, oh, no, no, no. I mean bye. I'll talk to you later. Or I like, bye. And that was it. And I sent her a text message like, listen, man, that was very disrespectful. She was like, she texted me again after that. Hey, did you want to meet up? I was like, nah, I don't give people a chance to disrespect me twice. And the point of all that was, when I know that I can go and buy a bad bitch for less than $200 to $300 and get my rocks off, I value my time more. I'll put more
Right.
time into my craft, into my earning, or increasing my earning potential, increasing my revenue streams and other things, or even doing a live stream. Like, I'd rather do that than deal with somebody who's going to disrespect you or possibly look at you as insensitive for one reason or another. And I think
Mhm.
that's very important, that guys need to understand that and have those type of things, uh, have those things on the table.
Absolutely. I mean, because that just gives you power, right? You're bargaining from a position of power, and you're moving in a position of power, right? Because I don't need this, and I don't need you.
Right.
So, that,
Respect, you know.
exactly. You know, that because women do try to keep, they try to keep their friend zone, right? They try to keep Negroes in their orbit and
Mhm.
just be like, no, I'm cool, right?
And I had a good conversation with the Grinch a while back. He and I have quite a few like just on the phone conversations where we're just talking about this stuff, and I'm like, bro, we should have recorded this. And one of the things was, and we, it was the same thing. We are saying the same thing, but in a different way. And I said, if a woman puts me in the lane, in a certain lane, I'm going to stay there. You put me on the shelf as a friend, no problem. I'm going to stay there. Now, what I mean by that is when you try and take me out of that friend lane or friend zone, no, I'm your friend, baby.
I'm unavailable. No, we can't go to dinner.
I don't know what to tell
Mm-mm.
you. Oh, you want somebody that's nice? No, that's not me. I'm your friend. I'm
Right.
not, I'm not fucking you, none of that stuff. Even friends with benefits? No, there is no benefit for me for that. And trust me, I fucked better. Like in terms of looks. And when you really come at it with that, and again, respectfully, no disrespect to the woman, it's just I'm not going to deal with that. That's bullshit. But that's a part of, again, back to what we're saying, is just social programming. A lot of people are programmed to think in this manner and to think that they are quote unquote less than.
Right. Yeah, it's a shame. It's just you have to be able to say no and you have to be able to walk away, you know. And that is bottom line. That's where it starts. Because if you don't, then you end up that frustrated dude, you know? You
Yeah.
end up that frustrated dude and you end up resentful and you end up, just with a bad attitude in general. If you can just say no and be like, okay, I can do this, I can, satisfy myself here or there or wherever, and I don't need that, then chicks get the message and you just move more confidently overall, right? Like you can go. No, I'm good. You can go. Right.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden they start coming back around like, oh, no, I can stay.
Or right, I'll stay where I'm at. But it's also like the value and the investment that you put into another person, and if they don't see the value in what you're saying to them, like the amount of people that joined or listened and one joined the stream with I'm Classic, where we talked about personal crypto investment strategies.
Mhm.
And then even earlier today, where BGS got on the stream and talked about crypto, it's like that type of stuff. People are paying hundreds of dollars for per hour to
Mhm.
thousands of dollars for maybe a 1-2 hour sit down talk, TED talk type deal or whatever. Not as short as a TED, but you know what I'm saying.
Right.
Um, and you can say this to a woman, a friend of yours, and they won't actually look at it with the same level of value, or they have the same valuation of it, which is very sad.
Yeah. I mean, you have to, what is that phrase? He who hath ears to hear, let him hear. Right.
Mm,
If you're putting out that good information, the right people are going to be attracted to it, and the
yeah.
wrong people won't want it. Right. So you
Mm,
attract and repel based on that. So, like you did that crypto stream, that was awesome. Right. So
yeah.
I took down those notes and actually I got to go review that and pull up that,
That
what is that tracking, that spreadsheet was cool. So I'm gonna
yeah,
copy that spreadsheet. So,
yeah. Oh, my
you know,
spreadsheet. I do. I have to. If you need it, I can share it. I do have a. Yeah, if you need it, I can share that. I do need to do a stream and go over that, and maybe even make it to where somebody can easily get to it.
mhm. Yeah, but that was awesome. So
Excuse me.
yeah, so like the phrase "the rich get richer," it's true.
Mhm.
It's true. That's what they do because
And
they know
there's a
how.
reason. Go ahead. Sorry.
No, I was gonna say they do because they know how, and they just keep doing it.
And the reason why they do it, they're made to. And one thing I heard this, the gentleman Meet Kevin, he was on the Graham Stephan podcast, the one he does with Graham Stephan does with his brother,
Mhm.
and he says literally, this country, this economy makes you get richer. It puts you in it puts you in a position that you have to buy more properties, because if you do not, especially if you watch somebody like Ben Mala, which is I think Life for Sale, his whole thing, and Ben Mala deals with strip malls and larger commercial properties, and literally he's just like he has to keep buying properties because the IRS is just going to take it anyway,
Yeah.
so he has to take his profit and buy more, otherwise he's going to lose it.
Yeah, the American tax laws are set
Mhm.
up to metastasize the economy, right?
Yeah,
You're either going to invest it or lose it. And most people would rather just keep investing, keep buying something,
right.
just got a duplex right before the beginning of the year. So
Congratulations.
actually not a duplex. It's a single family home, but it's zoned for multifamily. And the house next door, the lot next door is a fourplex. So
Okay.
I was like, okay, this is a good buy right here. And it's
Yeah.
ready to rent. And then I can build a duplex on the other half, right? Because the property only takes off half of it, and then build a duplex on the other half, and just keep the income flow
Oh,
going
the
on that
plot, the
particular.
land.
Yep.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm gonna build a duplex on one side, and then tear the single family home down and put a duplex on the other side. So make that a quad property.
Wow. Yeah. So now you're
Mhm.
going to have actual four rental properties in that one space. And,
Absolutely.
and that's beautiful because as we talked about, like, this country makes you, spend that money because it's all about, as you said, it grows the economy. It also maintains, I think, I want to say m- the velocity of money. But I wanted to say it like
Mhm.
monetary velocity, but that's not the right way of saying it. But it maintains and increases the velocity of money. Also, it increases things like inflation. Inflation is necessary because you're going to have to split the dollar up so much so everyone can get a piece. And splitting the dollar up, or AKA inflation, is just growing the pie to a certain extent. Now, it dilutes what's there, but it allows more people to actually have a dollar. So that's
Yeah.
why $60,000 or 100K or 120K is a new 60K now.
Hmm.
And that's a part of it, and that's my understanding, and that's how I quote unquote justify it.
Right.
But
Yeah, you're right. The inflation. What I find interesting is the more it inflates, the more it gives people the ability to aggregate more dollars. Right.
yeah,
Like the rich get richer. Yeah, they do because they're able to attract more dollars. And the consumers, they don't. They're still getting their wages aren't raising as fast as inflation. They're falling further behind. So it's important not to be in that category.
yeah, and what are you doing in terms of your skill? You did mention that you're an IT professional, much like myself. I ran an IT consulting firm for 10 years, real
Nice.
small. Me and my business partners, and then I also had a salon as well. And I that was kind of like my foray into real estate a little bit, not real estate, but a brick and mortar, I should say. And that failed, but I never really liked real estate. So in terms of, again, social programming, what turns people off from wanting to own and willingly, and I say rob because we've been programmed to, in my estimation, um but what makes people want to give up ownership so badly? What makes them want to be great renters for a landlord like yourself?
Um, I don't know exactly. I would say for younger people, it's consumerism, and then you're just in the habit. It's just part of their right. They don't see equity. Equity is not a concept that is easily maybe just seen, right? So they
Yeah,
don't
yeah.
understand how to use it, right? They don't
And it's
understand its
also something
necessity.
that takes a while to actually see.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, sometimes it's slow. Sometimes there's a big boom. South Florida, people in certain neighborhoods, they're added, $200,000, in equity, right? $500,000 in equity. Austin has been insane. Like
Mhm.
Austin, bro. I mean, because I watched it happen, right? Because I used to live there. So
Okay.
I watched like, maybe a year ago, you still had out in the hill country, $1 million lots, $5 million lots, yada yada. 6 months later, you only had $10 million lots left, and now even those are gone, right? So it's people bought that up. I
People
mean,
buying $10 million lots.
bought it
Yeah.
up left and right, man. So
And when you say
why
a
do
$10
you?
million yacht, how many or lot? How many acres is that?
It depends on where it is. It could be as much as 60. It could be as little as 5. I mean, if
Okay.
you're on the river, it might be
Yeah.
a lot more, and
Yeah,
it
because I
just
think Joe Rogan bought a property. I forgot where though, but he bought it in Texas, and
yeah.
his is, I think, close to like a river of some sort.
Right, yeah, if you're on the river, it's more. So there's a lot of different factors in the hill country, but the hill country is dope. I mean, before I left, that's what I was going to buy. I was just going to buy maybe 5-10 acres, and I would just put a trailer on it until I get ready to build a house.
All right, sit down and
Um,
chill. All right.
yeah, that was a plan because out there they had like a prime HEB and a prime strip mall in like the middle of nowhere. Right, I'm driving through, going to this winery out there, right, and all of a sudden there's a strip mall with like a brand new HEB and a couple of other empty spots where they're going to put some stuff. It's crazy. Oh, sorry, that's a grocery store.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
sorry, okay.
So it's like they had the infrastructure for the neighborhood before. So I was like,
Right.
dude, I could live out here, right? I'm
and
just
it's
living
like
10 miles that way, and the store's right there. So I can still, I'm not that far from the city. So,
so if you can actually get property, kind of get early. Another part of Florida was like the Port St. Lucie boom. Like everybody was moving up there at one point. Sorry, I got a mosquito. I'm gonna kill it in a second. But Port St. Lucie was big, and I have cousins, or I have a cousin and his family. They came up to my property during Memorial Day, so that was spring, summer, and fell in love. Just fell in love with everything. I've never seen my cousin. He's a guy, but I never seen him so relaxed ever. Guy was out here fishing, quiet, eating popsicles. You know what I mean? Kids was like, they were enjoying it and everything. His wife was like, "Oh my God, we go out back. I'm shooting the AR-15, the AR-10, and everything. She's shooting the 45, and she's like, "That's my gun." And I'm like, but when people start to move out of those metropolitan areas and they start to really go for ownership, they like, or when they see what they can own and really see it and touch it, feel it, like rub the soil in their hands, that type of stuff. It really changes their mind in a lot of ways. And I'll let you go, and I'll read some of the stuff from Anti-Gravity here. But go ahead.
Yeah, it's different. Yeah, getting out of the urban buzz, I call it. There's no sirens, right? There's no. You can see the stars, right? There aren't tons of lights around. It is way more peaceful. It is. Actually, I was in North Carolina, actually not too long ago. Maybe I was 6 months ago out there, and I was just around Fayetteville, and I was like, this is nice.
Yeah.
This is nice. There was like this bucolic little town in the middle of all these trees, and they had this nice little restaurant, little downtown. I was like, bro, I could do this. Right? I could do this for real.
Considerations were being
made. I told my wife, like, during all this BLM stuff and all this stuff going on, I'm like, look, if the wrong thing happens too close to us, we are gone. I'm letting you know now. I'll Airbnb a spot. I'm not taking any chances.
And you can go up to places like, it's 6 hours from me, 2 hours north of Atlanta, Blue Ridge. My friend, he actually down in Fort Lauderdale, he owns Harp's Discount Liquor, and he actually owns a home. If you know him, don't tell him I told you that. But he actually owns a home up in Blue Ridge, Georgia, and like he loves it. It's beautiful up there. I was actually looking at homes up there too, but a little bit too steep for me in terms of just the elevation. Like, one wrong turn, you're down in the gully side. They're not finding your ass whatsoever. Right. But yeah, I mean, when people start to get out of that, they start to see, they start to have a different mindset and feel to it. And it's crazy. But I want to, get to the chat here. So one thing Anti-Gravity said, house upkeep is honestly a giant pain in the butt. Not everyone can handle dealing with the faucet not working, mowing, etc., and not being able to call a landlord. And you know what? I'm not going to lie, Anti-Gravity, and this may be even your sentiment, but really I understand it. Finding workers to even right now, I'm going through trying to find workers to complete some drywall, people calling back, especially in a small town. The biggest thing for me is just the town, But then when you get to like places that are metropolitan areas, you're going to have a lot of workers. The biggest thing is just finding a good worker. So yes, a lot of that stuff is abstracted away and you don't have to deal with it. But at the same time, what you're giving up by paying someone else to do that, you're giving up equity. You're giving up ownership, especially into your retirement ages. Like I said in my video, imagine being 60 and having 10, 15, and 20 years left on your mortgage. Also, if you're at retirement age, and you don't have proper savings or anything, a lot of renters are also not. A lot of people that are avoiding mortgages are also avoiding savings, and investing. A lot of these people in some cases cannot. And I want to say I understand it, but fuck it, get something, bitch. Like like get something, man. You got to. So anti-gravity does have a question. What's y'all's thought on manufactured houses, trailers, and any tiny house? Some of them are expensive as a regular house, or as expensive as a regular house. And yeah, they are. But if you're gonna get, like, say, finally got the mosquito. If you're gonna get something like, we can actually look it up, and I'll share my screen here. But one home builder is Clayton Homes, which is owned by Berkshire Hathaway, and they resell other products, right? So if you go to a Clayton Homes, I think it's .com, or it's Clayton Homes Waycross. But with Clayton Homes, they have modular manufactured homes for sale. Sorry, let me step back and answer the question. Yes, I believe in, manufactured homes and tiny homes, depending on where you are. Personally, I like a home with a concrete foundation. I don't like homes where I have crawl spaces underneath or anything like that. The current building I have is fine because it's an exterior building, but the house that I live in, I like when I stomp on it, like, there's vibrations and it's almost like a loud thud as opposed to an echo. I believe those homes are good depending on the area that you're in, and also if it's rated to be in those areas. You're not going to have that in South Florida so much, even though they do have trailer parks. But for me personally, I think it's a good starter, and it's a lot cheaper. If you get a single wide, single family with 2, maybe 3 bedrooms in it, that's going to start maybe at 60 grand, and that's really affordable for some people. But there are some that are a little bit higher, $250,000, 300 grand for a damn mobile home. And I'm like, oh, hell no, bitch. That's not happening. Put my shit on the ground. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I think it's a good option, and it really depends on what your goal is. If you're in an urban area and you're trying to get a lot, you got a lot, and you're like, well, what do I do with this lot? Oh, throw a mobile home on it. Throw a trailer on it. There are places that have just an old refurbished fifth wheel, right? They park a fifth wheel in the back. That's one unit, and they got a little house in the front, and that's another unit, right? Do that all the time. So, I mean, it really just depends on your goal. Are you trying to live there? Are you trying to just get in and then rent it out? You can get used mobile homes, right? You don't have to buy new, and those are dirt cheap, cheap. So it all depends on what your goal is. Like I said, when I was in Austin, I was going to get a mobile home, right? Put that in the front of the lot and build a house later, right? So that would have been someplace I could have rented out later when I had built my home on the rest of the like 10 acres I wanted to get.
Right. And to your point about getting a refurbished or not refurbished, but a used mobile home, the only problem I have with that is, one, you're going to have to worry about how old that home is and the construction, the upkeep. A lot of those things start to slant after a while because people don't want to take care of it, the rot that happens with it. So you're going to have to do a lot in terms of inspection. And I would definitely give that job to somebody else, like some type of inspector, to actually look at it and ask them what repairs can be done. You can get those really dirt cheap. There was a guy on YouTube that I think out of Ohio where he bought an entire, him and he had another investor that came in behind him and he managed it. And he bought an entire mobile home park. He bought the whole thing and all the homes that were on it. Wow. Right. And they were abandoned, I guess, because maybe the previous owner owned it and they just rented them out. But he took them, refurbished what he could, and then sold them, moved them out, and did other things with it. And of course, he had the land as well. But he took like a whole mobile home park, but he was getting them maybe, he got them in like as a big lot. And I think he got it for like sometimes like $5,000 a mobile home in some cases. Wow. But they needed tons of work. there was a lot of work that you had to do with them. Um, One company, I showed this earlier on the stream, Keen's Buildings. They have things like what this here in the middle, which is known as the Weekender. The building that I have is 12 grand, or was 12 grand, and that's a 12 by 36. This is a barn style, almost like home, damn near permanent installation. They build everything on site and has stairs and all that other stuff. All you have to do is provide insulation or whatever else you want to do. You could turn this into, a playroom for the kids. If you have a wife that does hair and you're in the country, boom, like, listen, you work out of the backyard, not even from home, run electrical out there and do all types of stuff. I do believe in those things, in tiny homes, but within reason. Some are very expensive. Going back to even South Florida, the house that I lived in, the Plantation Park community near Plantation Park Elementary, and the house my mom owned, or my mom had, was 2,450 square feet, sitting on about a quarter acre, and that house was 480 grand. Now, when you look at that house for what they actually bought it for, when my parents were together, they bought it at 170 grand. Now, things happened and things just didn't work out, and my mom's with me now. But when you look at ownership, and if everything played out right, and if you did everything right and everything was on the up and up, I mean, you're looking at a $310,000 what's it called? $310,000 in equity for that home, especially if you kept the original mortgage.
Absolutely.
And that's kind of the beauty of it.
Yeah, equity is key, especially when you get to more commercial enterprises. I mean, lenders want to know your credit score, but they also want to know your net worth, and so that's where equity comes in real handy.
Mm-hmm.
As you're leveling up, going from duplex to quadplex to eightplex, etc. That's what they want to know, and that's why equity is so. I don't know, if you're not planning on doing that, equity can seem real, ethereal, right? Like not real, but you just have to be able to leverage it and want to do that, And also, to your point earlier, where you were talking about just get something, right? Anti-gravity is talking about, being able to like fix stuff. Like, you got to fix stuff, right? That's man skills. You got to be able to swing a hammer. You got to be able to turn a wrench always. So, and it's not that hard. I work in IT and I've done it. I mean, shit, anybody can.
Yeah. And then also, I mean, nowadays I would push back on it and be like, no, you don't even have to do all that. You got to know how to use a cell phone. It's just that easy, because so many of those things have been abstracted away, so you don't have to deal with it. Now you get on Angie's List. You get apps like Tackle, if that's still around. I wouldn't doubt that, if they can do it properly, you could DoorDash a handyman. And even the installation of a brand new TV, I don't have to go to the store to see how the TV looks and think and get measurements. I can get all the measurements online. You use Amazon one step further and you have a phone that's compatible. Now I can actually scan my room, and then actually place the TV where I want it, put it on the wall using augmented reality software that is actually in the Amazon mobile app. As long as your phone's compatible, it will do it.
Nice.
So using things like that nowadays, a lot of these things. Oh, and then going even further, you say, hey, listen, I want this delivered. Pay an extra couple dollars. I want it delivered not just to my door, but in the room. Pay a couple dollars more. I want somebody to install it, and they will do all that for you.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
But this is, again, back to the title here, social programming, where we believe this is such cumbersome work. We believe this is a lot to do, and for some reason we believe that we can't do it.
Right. There's so many people in our community telling us we can't do it. That you can't do this and you can't do that, and it's super difficult, yada yada yada. And then come around and say, well, why don't we have anything? Well, because you keep telling people not to do it. You keep scaring the hell out of people, saying you can't do this or you can't do that. And like the story I put in your chat, I had a friend show me the neighborhood right? Tell me about the incentives to move into the neighborhood. And then we went there. He was like, "Oh man, that's there's some white people in here." Like they're the ones taking advantage of it. I mean,
Right.
what? It's aimed at black people. The neighborhood is all black, but
Yeah.
these 2, 3 white people, and you're like turned off. Just go get it. And I when I was in South Florida, I was well, I'm still here now, but
Right.
I was telling a group of people because I was looking for a house before I got married, and I was like, yeah, I'm trying to get in this gentrifying area. And they were like, what? They're gasping, like, what are you talking about?
Right.
If not me, then who? Right? The money's
Yeah.
there. Why not take the equity? That's how other people are leveling up. Why
Hmm.
don't I do the same thing?
Yeah, especially those areas where, as you said, they've been gentrified and they've gotten to the point where they've also been built up. Um, why is that still there? It's weird. They've also been built up, but it's like a lot of people are so scared to get out of the norm or get away from their quote unquote people or, their comfort zone, which is what it really is. Um, that they're missing out on so many opportunities. As I said, my mom lived in a home and it was valued or listed at on Zillow for 480 something grand, and she could have gotten that in that area, in that Plantation Park area, because those houses were $500,000 houses. Great, quiet neighborhoods, except for the noise pollution from the turnpike, but quiet neighborhoods. Not too many sirens or anything like that, or there's not going to be many sirens on your block. And then now we're out here in Southeast Georgia, and I got this 2,300 square foot, 18 something acres, and I got this for 219. Now I'm looking at this area in terms of now I have 2 internet connections. I can work from home. This is a decent city area. We got Lowe's, we got Walmart, the staples. You know what I mean? We got the
Mm-hmm.
Applebee's, those little things. If I wanted to, I could drive 45 minutes and I'll be at the state line of Florida. 45 minutes after that, I could be right in the heart of Jacksonville and party there for a little bit and then still make it home that same night or get a hotel. So it's like, okay, you're going to give up a couple things, but then there's a possibility of increased equity later on. Literally, I could take my lot, my 18 acres, and you split it up accordingly. I can easily have, you know, 20 plus to 30 homes, right? And that's leaving enough space for roadways, plumbing, and other things, maybe even a green area just on my property alone. Guess what?
Mm-hmm.
It's only me on this bitch. Like, ain't nobody else. But it's like, okay, I have it. It's mine, or I'm going towards ownership in terms of like, I'm paying the mortgage. But this is what you can get into some of these this is a mobile home by all means. And this one is 160 grand starting at the 160s.
And that's not even a lot, you know? I mean, heck, that looks cool. If you could put that on a lot, I'll take that all day.
Yep.
I mean,
And
one,
you have some single wides that are a little bit cheaper than that.
yeah, 160, what is that? $800 a month, maybe, or less?
Yeah.
700, maybe. It's a fraction of rent in the city,
Yeah, especially like my mortgage, even with PMI, because I did a 3% conventional, even with PMI and everything, I'm still escrow raised the other day. It was when I first started, my first mortgage was 1267, then taxes, and my new payment now is like 14 something. Even with all of that, it's affordable to the point where I still make an extra 2 payments per year, 2 full payments per year to that payment to hit the principal.
There you go.
And I make I think I put like an extra $200. That works out to be about an extra $200 per month towards principal. And that's great savings in the long run. But even with that, at 1,400 or so, what is that? 2 bedroom, maybe in Plantation. There's like one Plantation down in South Florida, and I could look that up actually.
Shoot, I was paying 15 like 4 years ago. And that was with the garage, though. But
Um,
yeah,
what
I was
was
paying 15 and change.
what type of dwelling was that? Like maybe you had a detached garage or
No, 1 bedroom with an attached garage.
a 1 bedroom with it. Wow, a 1 bedroom. I mean, the garage, that's the plus. That's quite a bit, but wow.
Yeah, I need the garage, but yeah, I was like, man, I gotta come out of pocket, so I needed the garage, but yeah, and
So,
I'm sure it's more than that now. I mean, I haven't looked recently, but I'm sure a 1 bedroom is probably going for 15 hundo in Plantation. Something that's a good, a nicer complex.
how many square feet?
How many was it? It was a little bit, maybe 700. You know,
700 square feet.
wasn't huge.
Right. So, I asked that because of this, right? And how many years ago was that?
That was 2017.
So 5 years, four
Yeah,
going on 5
5.
years, right?
Yep.
So you're looking at this 750 to 753 square feet. They got 5 available, 1 bedroom, 1 bath. There's no garage. It doesn't show that. And you may have to pay a little bit extra for that. Actually, One Plantation is like a high rise in South Florida off of Broward Boulevard, no, University and 595. Um, and they had, I remember when this was, they built it where the IHOP used to be over there. $2,200 a month.
Yikes, man. I don't know. It's the programming, man. I don't know. It's the whole. I don't get it. I mean, if I was 25, I would not be playing this game.
Somebody,
I wouldn't.
this is somebody's first place, and they're breaking their neck to get it, or they got a nice job, and they can afford it, and it's a nice place so that maybe they can have their friends over and all this other stuff.
Yeah, I think that's the pressure. Really, maybe this is additional pressure for coupling and
Mhm.
more angst and aggravation for not having someone to split it with. Having because these are home prices. You're paying family prices to live by yourself.
It's crazy. Even in South Florida, this is a shit ton fuckload. Like
Yeah,
for
and
you,
where is this at? I missed that. What city is this in again?
this is in Plantation, Florida, in the Fort Lauderdale area. So that is, as I said, it's on University Boulevard. I think it's University Boulevard. Yeah,
I mean,
University Boulevard.
that's a 50% increase. If I was
Uh,
paying 1,500, that's like a 50% increase in 5 years.
and that's for 750 square feet, bro.
No, man, no, dude. If you just got to be different, man. I mean, people that succeed are different. People that don't play the game are different. It's just how it is.
Yeah, Dave Ramsey says, you're gonna. It's like I forgot what he says. You live different, so you can live different. He doesn't say it like that, but it's something along those lines, where he's saying, if you want different, you're gonna be different, and that's kind of one of the big things he was saying. So anti-gravity. I bought a house last October, November. My equity right now is about 60K plus. It's crazy.
Hell
And
yeah, anti-gravity. Hell yeah.
I think I want to say anti bought it maybe in the Cali area. Sorry to put your business out there, but I just said the state, not the area. But in the Cali zone, so that makes sense in those areas. Also, it will make sense in South Florida because of a lot of people moving out from New York, moving out from California, and then moving to a state like Florida where it's almost like a tax haven in some cases. And it's like, listen, if all I need is an internet connection, I'm not going to pay for shitty weather. You know what I mean?
Right.
Oh, okay. Anti-gravity. That's in Minnesota. Crazy.
In the Midwest? Dang, that's a lot, man.
Bro,
that's a lot.
60K. Ooh. I walked into this house personally. I walked into this house with 17K in equity. I worked the deal out, and they wanted more. They could have gotten more, and I was able to walk into this house with about 17 grand worth of equity, and they just wanted to kind of get rid of it and move on. And this house was on the market for 364 days before I saw it.
Well,
but 60K, man. Sell it and let me loan some money.
No, yeah, you're right about South Florida. There has been a ton of influx from New York. I mean, man, a home in my neighborhood sold for like, it would have given me like 200K in equity, and I bought in Um, when did I buy? What's the issue? It was 2020. It was 2020, like Mayish of 2020, right? It's like into the just a little bit after we went into the lockdown, and so yeah, it was it's been crazy down here, crazy. It's like you can't lose. I
And what
mean,
the
if
thing is, if you like, there's certain areas, certain pockets, of course. Well, it's every area, period. But certain pockets, like Plantation, is a little bit more affordable than an area like Parkland,
oh
which is
right, yeah,
North Broward. Yeah, North Broward. And in the Parkland area, everybody from New York moving there, and it's
hmm
cheaper, affordable. They get multiple garages, they get bigger homes, little McMansions. Parkland is a very affluent area, multi-millionaires, high thousandaires, high middle class, to upper class, so high middle class, upper class area. Like that is definitely the white side of town in that area. That's like Coral Springs, I think, borders that.
yeah.
So it's a very affluent area. Coral Springs would be like Plantation over on my side, but so very affluent area, and a lot of money goes through that area. So really, you definitely can't lose. Anti gravity, I only paid 3.5% down, or about 14K down or less. That's crazy. So you did the FHA at that point. So like probably first time home buyers. When I see 3.5%, I automatically think FHA. Um, and the only problem I don't like about FHA is some of the restrictions you have, but it doesn't really matter depending on if you're in it for more than 2 years. If you're in it for more than 2 years, it's that's good money. Um, Mr. Mr. Carbon Master, Young Grizz, what cryptos y'all homies got y'all eyes on? Ethereum, and one more Ethereum. Like I'm all over Ethereum. Second is Cardano or ADA. Next, a match for third is Algorand or Crypto.com. So Algorand, ALGO, or Crypto.com, which is CRO. Those are like my top four coins. Any other coins other than that, you can get into Bitcoin. It's a safe play, but you're not going to get many multi-X or no doubles and triples in the near future. So those are like the coins that I really look at, and those are the coins that like I'm really on right myself. I don't know if you're into that, Freedman.
Yeah, I dabble. I mean, I like mostly Cardano. It's kind of my ride or die.
Mm-hmm.
Um, some
Yeah, you did
Bitcoin,
say that in the chat. I remember.
some um, what else? I think it's Solano is like the just nonsense coin I thought to get.
Yeah, Solana.
So yeah.
Yeah, SOL. Shit out of luck. That's funny. I just thought about that. Um, my old zip code 33317. I wonder if like all my old houses on there, but like, and this is the plantation area. These are the costs. This is how much a 2,000 square foot house is going for 77. That's crazy. That's fucking stupid.
Yeah, where's that at? Dial in on that on the map.
Hold
Oh,
on.
okay, and that's
On
in.
the map, it is it this one? Okay, here we go. Right here.
Oh, it's got a little water in the back. Yeah, that's gonna be a little pricey.
But is
It
it
doesn't have
connected?
much
Oh,
water.
yeah, but it's
It,
connected
it
to the
goes out.
intercoastal.
It goes out to the intercoastal. That one does,
Does it?
right?
Yeah,
Because well, no, it doesn't. Where's that out? If
because
it's on
this
the other side of if it's on the other side of that, then no. But
yeah,
if it's to the right of that, it can get out. Yeah, it can get out. It can get out.
maybe a small boat, right?
Yeah.
Because this right here, I know. So one plantation, as I was talking about earlier, is right here. Like that's
hmm
this area right here. So plantation, and I lived in Heritage Park area or Plantation Park. So I lived
hmm
here off of Ninth Street.
Okay.
Um, and that house, that was going for 500. So even seeing this house at 7 is wild to me.
Wow, that's
That's
a lot.
a
I
lot.
mean, that has gone up a lot. They weren't that pricey back in 2017. That's for sure. That's a big jump, dude. 775. That used to be golf course prices.
Yeah, yeah. There is a golf course in the area, but this ain't on it.
Right, right.
Like, no. Like, bro, no amount of like this is a nice home. This is very beautiful. This ain't 700 grand though.
Mm-mm.
Like, if you talking 700 grand, you got to give me Weston. You
Well,
got
I
to,
mean, who knows what Weston is now?
yeah,
Yeah, because when I was looking there in like back in 2017, looking for our first home, they had some stuff for like maybe 450 that we knew was going to go up, but I mean, there it is. You know, it is gone up, looking like 558. I mean, even that is, you know, in 5 years, that's 100 grand. So I mean, 20K a year in equity, that's definitely not bad.
Anti-gravity, we did address the question. I don't know if you were on. Did you want me to go deeper into another tangent on that, or another route on that? But can you give me some insight on my country living question? What exactly, in terms of like a tiny home on a lot of land? Yeah, most definitely. And I think that is something that a lot of people should embrace in terms of, if they can get a nice plot of land, that is something that they really should get into if they can actually handle it. Because there's a lot when it comes to country living. Now, you can live out in the country, but there's a lot that you're going to be separated from, that you're not going to have the access to. Also getting a piece of property where it has electricity on it and any other type of utilities on there as well, like, plumbing, or like, city water. You might have to get a well if a well is not already drilled for you. In my case, I'm on city water, but I do also have a well that for all my little spigots and everything else like that, on the property. So those are things that you have to worry about. No, the second question. Uh, e-
Yeah,
Retype
man.
it. Yeah,
If
retype it because I want to say we went over it.
Yeah, Minnesota's gorgeous, man. If you can get out somewhere and you're on at least like electricity, you know, and you can get septic and you can chill.
Yeah. Um. So even Rear County, no.
I mean, I would do it. I was going to do it, you know, and I hadn't got another job and moved out of Texas, but
Mhm.
yeah, that was definitely a plan.
So one piece of property was this 323 acres. I mean, this is quite a bit. This is up there. Um, but when I look at a piece of property like this, uh, yeah, when you can retype that one for me, Anti. And my apologies for missing it. But when I was looking at this property, I do things like I go to landwatch.com, I love it, and it also has this flood layer. And then you start to see why a property is as cheap as it is in some cases. So hopefully it can show, or it doesn't show the layer. There we go. So now you start to look at this property totally different, because now this 300 and something acres, there's maybe no 288 acres. Well, okay, that's weird. But 323 acres is what's posted up here. I don't know if maybe I'm on a different layer or something, but you're looking at maybe a good 70, almost 80% is covered in water or covered in what is a flood zone. So that means you can only, like, there's certain things that you can only plant in those areas. You're not planting any crops because they'll just get flooded out. You might be able to plant trees, but there's going to be a lot of what they call, and I was, educated about this, what they call flat ponds. So where you have about like an inch or two worth of depth, or inch or two of depth, and then that will fill up, and it's long, and that will fill up and create a mini swamp. So your feet will, you can get some water, some water boots or something like that, and you'll touch the ground, but it's all flooded, and there's not much you can do except for bringing out sand. Also, there's things that you're going to have to do in terms of ecological surveys, to actually get this property changed, so you can actually put some land underneath all of this and make it usable. So you're gonna have to do ecological surveys. You're gonna have to talk to the county. You're gonna have to talk to other, like, maybe wildlife and gaming and stuff like that to make this property useful. And that takes that could get you to six figures to maybe even millions of dollars, depending, in just getting it to where it needs to be. So that can include those surveys, and it can also include bringing in dirt and moving things around, to make it to make a change in there too. So I don't know if that helps a little bit or gets a little bit deeper, but when I look at land, all right, cool, I got this land, but now I know this is going to be a mosquito hotbed because of all the water. And you can almost see it if you take out the flood map. You could see why this is just green bush, and then this area here is where they planted all the pine trees, because those are pine tree clusters pretty much. So you can see why that happens and how that's all done. So, deer and everybody else is in here, but you as a human, you're only living on these pieces here because those are the higher points of land.
That's interesting. Yeah, I'm going to save that, landwatch.com.
Oh, beautiful website. If you're looking for any pieces of land, and I know it's talking a lot, but for instance, if you look out, say AZ, say Arizona.
Oh, I love Arizona.
Yeah.
Man. Well, I mean, it's closer. I'm from California, so it's closer to California without all the craziness.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't know much about the area or anything like that, but I remember I was looking at plots of land that are just absolutely cheap, and some are just dirts, like just sand dunes. It's looking like something like you could probably film Dune 2 out there or something like that. If you could actually sprint and make that happen. But this is probably taken in spring, summer, something like that, of course. Nice mountain ranges and all that. But there's a reason why this property is 55 grand, 40 acres at 55 grand, where you're paying a little bit over $1,000 per acre. But are there water sources? Oh, if you can own a piece of those mountain ranges, that'll be beautiful. If you could own at least 100 acres and a piece of it touches that, where you can do rock climbing and other types of things, that's beautiful. Okay, you got a dirt road. That's nice. That means there's something there to where you can actually travel. You don't have to cut your own path. Like when I'm shopping for land, bro, I'm going into it because I've seen too many like videos and I've caught too many things. Then you start getting into things like, okay, are you going to get all the land and mineral rights to this? Again, this is the social program. Me defying my own social programming and getting out of it and looking at things like this. Okay, do you have mineral and gas rights on this property? Is that being sold along with that 55 grand? Because you're going to have a gas truck come on to your property and say, hey, listen, we own the gas rights and we're drilling, and there's ain't shit you can do about it because you didn't buy the gas rights.
Right.
Your thoughts? I went on too far.
No. That's good stuff. I mean, those are good things to consider. A lot of that I hadn't thought of. Yeah, I'm gonna peruse this site and look at, because I was looking at a lot of places up in the Chattanooga area. So I'm gonna look at those places through this lens. Yeah, so there's always good stuff to learn. I think anti-grav. Did we answer or did we address anti-gravity's second question about living in the country?
I hope we did, man. And
Yeah.
I didn't hear. I don't see it. I think we addressed both questions. I'm usually pretty good about that.
Okay.
Hey, but everything reposted.
Hold on for a sec. I'll be right back.
Yes, sir. So even with this property here, we're looking at this has fence or fencing. That's nice. That means there's possible homestead, something that's covered there. So that's good. So that if you plop your fifth wheel, your pre-built home, or if you go to Keen's Building or any other building manufacturer for your area, you can get it could be YouTube holding you back, because I see this comment. But I know you bought a house. You said you bought a house there. No, anti-gravity, man. Like, yo, if you got a question, bro, like, well, I'll answer it, bro. Most def, bro. Like, most def for you. But yeah, I want to make sure. If anything, catch the playback too. But I can it. We can go over it again. You know me, I can talk. Um, so you get a piece of property like, say, this one here, right? And it's fenced off. You maybe have a homestead. Maybe you're going to pick the highest point on the property or the highest piece of flat land so that you could survey the property. You can also stay out of any flood zones for that area. Those are the things that I'm looking at too when I'm looking at property like this. And then you could plop a building like, where is it? Oh man, they freaking do the slides here. Darn it. Hold on. Let me reload this page. You can get a building like the Weekender here, which is a 2-story building. You know, I I want to live in the country, but near melanated folks like you is what I asked basically. Oh, I didn't see that. I didn't see that question at all, bro. I don't know if that I don't do anything in terms of like holding back questions or anything, but if you want to live in the country, I mean, there's black people everywhere, obviously, but for most black people, what you'll see is most black people like to have cities. There's not a lot of black people out in really rural areas where there's not too much of a city center. But black people are everywhere. That's one. For instance, I live in Waycross, Georgia, and it does have a city center because now with that city center, you have certain jobs. Sadly, lower income jobs. They're not that bad, but maybe there's a nurse. You could be a nurse or something like that, an RN. I was pleasantly surprised when I talked to a woman recently, and she's an RN and she makes into the 6 figures, so but she's like a manager and everything. So she broke into the 6 figures with this new job. Even out here where the median income is 30 to 40 grand for all peoples, black, white, Hispanic. But if you wanted to live like, close to me or close to black people in general, usually go for places where they have a decent city center. And even with that, if you live out in the country, you're probably not going to see them unless you go to the store. Those are like my neighbor is white, Miss Cotton, and like, and there's black people, but there's black people in the development sitting right where I'm sitting behind me, and there's black people there. There's a black family there. There's a couple of black families there that I've seen quite a bit. So, they live in nice houses out here and everything else like that too. So,
yeah, I would try the South. If you want to live in the country around more black people, you definitely got to do it in the South. I mean,
Alabama, Mississippi.
Yeah, it's going to be harder. Other places, not impossible, but I mean, I've been, I lived in the Midwest for 10 years, and I've been all around rural areas, and it just aren't a ton of black people, if that's what you want.
Yeah.
You could go to, I mean, I've been to like small towns in Ohio, some really nice places, little bucolic places, but there's just not going to be a lot of black folk. But in let's say, I don't know, Meridian, Mississippi, yeah, you're going to have more black people in the country. But that's a different world. Depends on what, you kind of socialize to.
Yeah, anti-gravity, man. Yeah, the lot next to me is actually I can't even buy the damn lot next to me, and I want to. I called them. Well, I called them, but like if you come with the money and come through certain or go through different channels, I'd probably get a better reception. It wasn't bad. They just said no, it's next to the airport out here, which they have a small little municipal airport, but it's next to the airport out here, so nobody could really buy it. It's like a buffer piece of property, and literally, it's just like it's a swamp, if anything. Tennessee has a lot of black people in the country. Yeah.
Yep.
I've been to the rural area in Minnesota. Didn't like the vibe. Yeah.
I can imagine.
I wouldn't doubt it either, man. Like just depending on how it is, those people out there, like it's also you have to act a different way to a certain extent because the people are socialized different, especially in the country. You know, I've
Oh,
had
yeah.
to tamper down my vulgarity. You know, in the city, you could talk, curse like a sailor and talk all types of fuck shit. You know, especially in South Florida, and that's like normal out here. You know,
Uh, they recoil. It's like, oh,
yeah,
that is just impolite, sir.
yeah,
Could you
clutching their
not?
fucking pearls and shit.
Could you not do? There are children here. What are you doing?
Like virgin ears, like bitch, you got grandkids.
Yeah, man. Everybody in your business, you know. Oh, you bought that property? Yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah, you got that.
Oh,
So you got the truck. Hey, did you get new tires? Hey, they got new tires down at such and such Dave's Tire Shack. You should check them out. Yada
and
yada
there's
yada.
also nothing. And that's a good point because there's not so much. Again, this goes into social programming. If you're in like a metropolitan area, there's a lot of quote unquote secrecy. People watching you for the wrong reasons, and things like that. And that's a problem. But out here, they see it. My neighbor will call me. Oh, I saw you did this, and I'll be like, bitch, if you don't. But like, at first I was like that, but then I'm like, oh, thank you, Miss Coggin, I appreciate it,
Yeah,
because she's also looking out for you. She's also saying, hey, Michael, I saw somebody fishing on your property.
right. They're looking for
Like,
strangers. Yeah.
yeah, like, and it's like I didn't, I didn't know who they were or something else like that. And also, when you're talking to people, the people approaching you in good faith, people approaching you not in malice or anything like that. They're approaching you because they really, people saying, just randomly saying hi to you,
Mm-hmm.
getting used to that.
Yeah, it's we went to where did I go? Went to some small community up north. Not quite Port St. Lucie. I think it's Teresta or something like that. But my wife was like, "No, it's too small. Reminds me of my hometown. Everybody knows you. Yada yada." And I'm like, "Yeah, that's right. Yeah, exactly. It's
Right.
perfect, right? Because everybody's gonna see my daughter. They'll be like, "Oh, I saw your daughter over here. I saw your daughter over there. I
Yeah.
got 5,000 eyes on her everywhere she goes." Like, hell yeah, let's move to a small town. She ain't
Yeah.
getting away
And
with
they're
nothing.
actually using the Facebook group. Like, I think I haven't been a part of it, but like, I think there's like the Waycross Facebook group. And, you can, people are asking questions. I heard this loud noise. And it's just like, like they're hearing construction in the area. It's like it's just this banging noise, and it was going on for a long period of time or a couple nights over and over. And I was just like, it's probably construction, and they're just doing night construction. For me, I heard it sounded like when they were expanding 595 in South Florida, they were driving all the piles in there.
Pylons, yeah.
Yeah, so it sounded like that, and it's that almost like gunpowder, like that explosion, that booch booch booch, like, and I'm like, I heard it. I was just like, oh, that sounds like somebody's burying piles. But the thing is, you can hear it, and it's out of place out here.
Right.
So that's
Yeah,
like the crazy part.
that's a big advantage of not living in an urban area. There's millions of strangers, or you got 5,000 friends.
Yeah.
You
Yep.
know.
Yep. And people see you. You see, like, you're gonna see somebody twice. So I will admit, I have stalker tendencies. Um, and living in a small town is great when it comes to doing background checks on people, because especially women, because they're very, let's just say, a person before you talk to them again the second time.
Right. Yeah.
That really helped me even recently, where it was just like, oh, okay, you got two kids, and like one more search, and I know where your kids go to school. It sounds fucked up, but then you find out, you got two kids from two different baby daddies, so it's just like, oh, okay, shit, But this is the thing about small towns. I could search somebody's name and then my town's name, and since everybody puts stuff out there, or they have court records or any of that other stuff. E. Taylor 704, peace to you, brother, as well.
Peace
But
out.
yeah, it's like when you're living in these small towns, man, like, and that's another problem. Like, your privacy is far less, because now all I need is your first name and the town you live in. And since it's such a small town, I can find you online,
Yeah.
and like, it's crazy. And again, I know that's why I say, hey, listen, it's stalker like tendencies, and I don't use it, for ill will or anything, but it's like you can really do the same thing that some women do to you in terms of background check. Well, not you're married, but like where women will do background checks and stuff. And I started doing this only because I met a woman in the grocery store here, and then she asked me for my full name, dude. And I was just like,
what's your full name, sir?
yeah, she was like, I was like, oh, my name is Mike the computer guy, right? That's how I was introducing myself. And she literally said, oh no, what's your last name? And I was like, you a cop or something like that? She was like, I do work for the sheriff's office. And I was like, oh, okay. She was like, oh, I'm a correctional officer. Or no, she didn't even say that, right? I gave her my full name, and I was like, oh, okay. Like my name is Michael B. And she took it, and she could have looked it up. I don't really give a fuck. I got her first name, and then just put in the city of Waycross.
Mm-hmm.
I found her. She got a commendation. I knew where she worked because you just talk to people, and I'm not asking questions to be inquisitive and know more about you and dig up your dirt. But sure as shit, I got the lady's the full name and everything. Never got a call from her or nothing. But I got the lady's full name and everything because she was like, well, I just want to make sure you're not married or anything like that. And I'm like, and I was like, all right, I feel you. It was like, okay, you running a background check on me, I'm running one on you. So I did it. And ever since then, I've been doing that. And you could never do that in a large, highly densely populated area or a metropolitan area. You just really can't do that because you're going to find 100, you're going to find 2 to 3 pages of somebody with the same name.
Right. Yeah. Unless they have a super unique name, there's no way.
Right.
Michael Johnson, New York. No luck.
No, it's not happening. Not happening. Like even like my full name, first and last, they I found multiple at different ages and everything.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, that's cool.
Looked at Zillow for your area, found a nice property, 5 acres for $125K. Well, let's go ahead and do that because I was looking at properties as well in my area as well. Freeman, I'm sorry, you wanted to say something?
No, go ahead. Yeah, this is interesting. I was like, I was thinking about doing a stream, maybe for my first video, something like this. Just looking up a property, just showing brothers how easy it is. It's easy. Like this property I found, it took less than 20 minutes, on Zillow. And I was like, well, and my wife's a real estate agent, so that helps. So I basically just sent her the link and said, check this place out. And then I went up and looked at it, and I was like, well, this is cool. Ready to rent. The price is right. The upside because of the zoning. Yeah, we'll just pull the trigger on this bad boy. And, right. And she just handled the transaction. So it was just like, cool.
Yeah, like it's nothing.
Yeah. So, I mean, yeah, and it's flexible. So, you can make the property cost less because you don't take commission. Right.
Yeah.
Things of that nature is, you structure it a different way or whatever. But yeah, so it was easy. So like this area, like where you're at, what I would do is do a search for, I would go to the filter and put zoned as a keyword because usually those, I would search. Yeah, I would do multifamily homes and land and then use the keyword zoned. And it'll just give you in the listings when they want to advertise the zoning, they want to upsell the property is, hey, it's zoned for 8 units, 10 units, whatever. That's what they'll put in there. So that's what I did, do my search. And it was just like, boom. There we go. I had like 3 or 4 in the area. So, and I want to get in this area too. It's in Lantana.
So in this, for this search for me, it wasn't as nice because this is like the entire Southeast Georgia region. So
right, yeah, just scroll in. How'd you do it?
Well, I did this here zone. I did my zip code in zone. Should I do the town name in zone?
You can just scroll in.
Okay.
On any particular area you want. Yeah.
Oh,
okay. So yeah, Waycross. Okay. So scroll in again. Yeah, let's go with this area. Let's say now go to the other panel. and see like maybe that one for 220 that looks like that might be a duplex maybe.
Oh, okay. All right, 220 house for sale.
And then go to the God, I can't see your screen. It's the let me put this on my other monitor. Okay, yeah, and then overview, facts and features. Oh no, that's not a duplex.
Yeah, so this is a single family.
Yeah, go close out of this and then go back to the filter.
Mm-hmm.
And then yeah, home type. Go to home type.
Home type. In terms of home type, okay.
Yeah, and then deselect and then just pick multifamily land and lots. And then done.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, yeah. So there are more lots in here now. Back out some. Just get a bigger area. Yeah, that's fine. Actually, scroll in just a little bit more because you want to eliminate that area there on the right. Okay, that's good. And then okay, what's that? 15,000. Scroll down on the left hand side or right hand side panel.
This is a multifamily for rent. So right hand.
Yeah, scroll down some. There's
Just
not a
for
lot
one.
in there.
Oh, this is probably what anti-gravity is talking about. We'll look at that in a sec.
Yeah, keep going. Wow, they don't have actually any duplexes.
A lot of this stuff is like farm town stuff too as well.
Mm-hmm.
So and then I one thing I don't see is a lot of multifamily, multi-tenant dwellings around here. There are
Mm-hmm.
some, but they're like I think far and few between. Um,
Yeah, it didn't look. Yeah, if I do this search in South Florida,
oh
yeah,
yeah,
you're gonna get like duplexes and stuff like that.
if you can do the search real quick, or we can share your screen as well.
Yeah, actually, I'll show you real quick. Let me.
And also, one of the things we can do for your channel is like you can actually pull this down from YouTube, put this as one of your first videos on your channel, um, or when you get ready to do a stream, I can share it too. So you just let me know,
Okay.
get some views for you. This is kind of what anti-gravity was talking about. 125K, 5 acres of land. One thing I don't like about this already is just there's not a lot of pictures. I don't see much inside. They do have a little bit of a lake here, or I'm sorry, a pond, but this has been kind of drained, so you're gonna have to pump that up. That's just a mosquito pit right there. Um, so those are one of the things, like, it's pretty dry. So if you can get some water in there, you can actually, you could buy water too and get it dumped in there as well. Yeah, I, uh, last, oh, sorry, last Zulu. Sorry, it looks like a capital I. Last Zulu, yeah, buying land, bro. We're looking at that and looking at those, looking at things like that, man. Like, look, buy more or less buying property. We got Freeman's Journal here, who's definitely big into property as a stream of income. But looking at something like this, very secluded, pretty nice. I do like this. I don't know how far this is from my house. It's very small, but that could be good for a bachelor like yourself, anti-gravity. Um, it is going to be far away from a lot of things. This could be a good possible hunting plot. One thing I don't see is the inside of the house yet. We got two more pictures left, so I don't like that. I do like that this ground here, knowing a little bit about this area. There's an area known as Sandy Bottom in this area, or in this county, and this is pretty sandy. I like that. That means it's dry, and it's dry, not too much vegetation and things like that. Last Zulu, this is in Ware County, Southeast Georgia. So that's like just north, 45 minutes north of the state line of Georgia, Florida, or the Georgia-Florida state line. I do like that it's fenced. That's nice. So something like this, you have a nice fenced driveway. That fence is in great condition right there, and it has a wheel on it. Beautiful. So that's easy to move. It looks like you have a nice path out here, because that's not the same driveway. So there's another path that leads maybe off the property or to another area. That's a lot of woods around you and your household. If you're okay with that, no problem. That means, I doubt there's going to be like anything that's vicious or dangerous lurking in there. But that is one of those things you do have to worry about because this is in the Okefenokee. There's the Okefenokee Swamp near this in this county, and that's like 400,000 acres wildlife preserve, alligators, bears, and stuff like that. So some of those animals do get out, but it just depends on where you are. But that's it. I don't like the fact that you can't see inside of this home. The home from the outside looks good, but there's like beautiful women around walking with AIDS. So take for what you will. You know, um,
I think the manufactured home would probably be a good option for that property. Just tear whatever that thing is down,
mhm.
get a good septic system,
Yeah, and we were
and
looking
have
at
at it.
yeah, and you might actually oh, you live near there. Hey man, you probably my neighbor, bro. Yeah, we can connect, bro, if you want. Come over, come fishing. Don't be an asshole or a crazy person. I'll probably shoot you, but I don't think you are. Hopefully not. Most of my listeners are not. But then again, if they're like me, they probably are. Anyways, don't worry about it. But you can get something like the Revere from Clayton Homes in Waycross. Um, like this right here, you can get this home and get that delivered to you in 3-4 months, I think, maybe 6. And or you can get something that's pre-made. Freeman's Journal mentioned earlier, you can get a fifth wheel and have that just dropped on the property.
Yep.
Especially if the property already has an existing home, that probably means that it has existing septic and an existing well. So you got water and you got shitter, So those are the biggest things. And after that, you're just doing what you want and terraforming it and adding to it. Let me know when you want to share.
Okay, yeah, I'll do this real quick.
So what
Yeah, I'll
Freeman
share
is
now.
going to do is go over some of the things that he does when he's searching for properties, especially in his area where he lives, um, or where he actually the markets that he likes as well. Because I know you're talking about Texas at one point, other parts of Florida, Arizona. We were looking at land out there. This beautiful property out in Arizona, like this right here. This is 40 acres going for 55 grand. And it looks like it might have an established road so you can actually get to the property. So this is absolutely beautiful. You have this road here, and hopefully your land will be right off this road. That's pretty nice. And I'm gonna share your screen in a second. This is the stuff that you have to worry about. So with this property, this is your property here. This is the 40 acres. If I look at layers, it's Arizona, so we shouldn't have a flood issue. But we do have a source of water right here. Now, that's important because if you dig a well, you may not have to dig as deep just to get to the actual water bed in that area. Those are things that you have to think about when you're, buying land. You want to make sure you have uh, uh, I'm not crazy, bro. Just a chill BN. Yeah, man. I think that means Black Nubian. But yeah, bro. I feel you. I'm just joking, man. But yeah. So all right, Freeman. I'm going to share your screen. I'll add to stream and take this down. So pretty much show us what you got and what you do. And I'm just gonna actually just have your screen only and take our faces off of there. And you're driving. Okay. So explain to us what you do, what you like to do, and kind of like your process when you're looking for homes and go from there.
So yeah, what I do is I'll just come to Zillow and like look around my area, right? Any for the bedrooms, also like houses, multifamily, lots and land. And then one more I'm going to look for zoned, or sometimes I do zoned duplex or quadplex, fourplex, something like that. If I want
Oh,
to get more
that's the keyword
specific.
you're talking about. Okay.
Right. Yeah. So
Never.
listings will usually say zoned for something or other, right? That's usually the nomenclature. So
And when you put
back
in
out
zone,
here.
how can you do multiple keywords? Do you just space it, or is it comma
Yeah,
separate?
just use the space.
Okay.
hmm So like, what do we have so far? So I'll price it low to high and see where we're at. Like this property here, 3 bedroom, 2 bath, 940 square feet for sale. Okay, what's it about?
And just to keep it on task a little bit, we're talking about social programming. These are some of the things that a lot of people are giving up in terms of their quote unquote rights, if you will. They have the ability to do these things and make money into their later years of retirement.
Yep. So this got down 2K. Let's see.
Okay, that fence is kind of fucked up, so that's another 3K off. Okay.
So yeah, this says needs. Oh, come on, it's lagging. Okay, so it says needs TLC zone single family residence, but can be a duplex as well. Great. There are 3 beds, 2 baths. One side is a 1 bed, 1 bath, and the other side is okay. So it's already duplex.
Right. Yeah.
Backyard is fenced. Yada yada yada. There's no HOA. Okay, so
Wow.
what do
Inside
you got
already
here?
has a kitchen, so your plumbing and electrical are already done.
Yep. So you got a 1-1. Let's call that I don't know the area yet, but let's call it 1,000. And call the other side 1,400.
Hmm.
And then
That's another big question is how do you determine your rent? There's what you pay in mortgage, and then there's what they'll actually pay for that area in rent. So how do you
right.
determine that?
So what I'll do is so this is 1332, right? Estimated monthly cost.
And
And what
that
I'll
and
do is let me
just a thing about Zillow, guys, and you should just know this. By default, Zillow puts you at a 20% down, so you have no PMIs. PMI is not calculated. They put you in there as a 20% conventional loan, which is normal.
yep.
Whether you think it's normal that you should have that much money or not, that is normal for the housing market.
Come on. Get out of here. So and then what I'll do here is just hit rent over the same area.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'll go. That house is what, 2 bedroom?
Mm-hmm.
That was 2 bedroom, 1 bath. Here's exact match done. And then see what we get. 2,200. No, that's a different type of place. 2 bed, 2 bath. Yeah, 1,500 a month. Oh, and this looks about a similar style property. So yeah, 700 square feet. Okay. I mean, if it's renting for this, I can rent one side for 1,000, another side for 1,500. That's $2,500. So you're looking at about, let's say, roughly 1,200. 10 off the top, so you're looking at 11 or 1080. And maybe so. Let's call it 800 a month.
Mm-hmm.
That you'll keep in your pocket, right?
Oh wow.
And that's 9,600 a year.
So
Because
now
what
with that, I mean, what is your and answer this after what you're going to go over, but how does that loan look? How much are you putting down? Where are you getting
uh
it from? Things like that.
Well, I'm putting down 20. Well, you can go through a mortgage broker, right? Is a
Uh-huh.
guy I worked with a few times, so that process is, I mean, it's pretty easy since he already knows me.
Hmm.
If you're going through, this is your first, maybe like commercial, you're gonna fill out a lot of forms. They're gonna ask you a lot of questions. They're gonna want to know your equity, right? They might ask you, is this your first property? Um, Things of that nature. But it's just like buying a house, pretty much. You just put more down because it's not your primary residence.
Yeah,
Um,
I was talking to a real estate agent the other day and thinking about buying a rental property in my area just so I can, another stream of income. And she said, "Oh, now you're getting into the realm of commercial loans."
right, yeah, and for commercial loans, they want to know your net worth. That's where equity becomes real valuable.
Mm.
So let's say I'm renting both sides, 2,500 minus 1332
Wow.
equals 168. I'm going to multiply that by 0.80 because I'm paying 10%. Well, no, I'm going to do it by 0.7. Multiply by
What's the
0.7.
reason for that 0.7? What does that represent?
So that I'm taking 30% off the top because the down here is kind of expensive for what's it called, property managers. So I'm gonna just take 10% off the top. Then I'm gonna take another
Oh, hold on. Okay.
I'm gonna take another 20% off
I'm
for
gonna call you the Flash. You got to slow down there, big guy. Like,
oh
why? Property manager. I know what that means, but like, can you explain that a little bit more? So you're doing you have a property manager representing you.
oh absolutely. I mean, I don't do this myself. No.
Okay, and
Mm-mm.
then why? And like why? Yeah, get
Well,
into that, please, please, please. Why? And how much is that? Please, yeah, this is yeah, please.
so
Mike
a
B, I appreciate
property managers are peace of mind, right? There's nothing, I promise you, there's nothing better than mailbox money, right?
you. Right.
You're looking at your business account, and then poof, it's like poof, there it is. It's in your account, and you just you did your due diligence beforehand, and now you're just making money. So property managers find your renters, right? They vet your renters,
Hold on. You said you
and
do your due diligence. Are you doing your due diligence in a property manager?
well, yeah, well, that too. You're doing your due diligence and getting your property manager, but I mean with the property, right? You're acquiring the property and making sure it's good to go, right? So you can rent it and so forth and so on, right? The things that you do to acquire the property, make sure it's good, right? Because even as you're the owner, you're not handing a property manager a piece of crap, right? Not something that's not ready, right? Because you kind of get there first. Because if you have a property that isn't already ready to be rented, and then you have the property manager do that, they're they got to call a guy, right, beyond the handyman to fix it up and do this and do the drywall and yada yada yada, right? I don't give a property manager a property like that. It's already ready to be rented, right? So we sign the contract and they put a tenant in it, you know and so they're verifying the tenant, right? And here's the thing, they only make money. Well, it depends on the contract, but I got some people in California, they only make money when they collect rent, right? That's their deal. They don't charge extra for finding a client. They don't charge extra for anything else. They only take a gross of the rent. So they are very invested in finding me good tenants. And I was able to get good tenants throughout the entire pandemic, right? Even in California, so I never missed any money from tenants, right?
Wow.
So when I say get a property manager, get a property manager. Don't do it. I mean, if you have time to do it yourself, maybe you want to do that. I personally don't, because I'm doing something else um I'm doing something else to make money, right? I've got IT to get me capital to do the other thing, right? Because I
Now,
just go broke managing my own properties.
Now, with that being said, I don't want you to give up too much. Let these motherfuckers pay by subscribing to your channel. If you can plug your channel, I think everyone it's a unanimous decision, even though I haven't taken a poll. Everyone wants your first video to be talking about property management and picking the right property manager. That is no longer a request. That is a demand. Thank you very much.
Yeah, I will. I will do
Yeah,
that definitely.
yeah, like if you can you drop your channel link in the description or sorry in the description, the chat, because then I want to make sure that we get people over to subscribe to you so they can wait for their video this coming week, and we expect that this coming week. Thank you
Right on.
for agreeing to that.
Um,
But go
so,
on, keep going, keep going.
what are you? Oh yeah. So property manager, right? So that's why you want a property manager, right? You don't want to do it yourself. It's like you just don't want to. Why? They do that. They're professionals at it. They'll protect your income and theirs. That greed is good, right? They're greedy, so they're going to help you get your money so they can get their money.
And I've heard
And
property managers
then
are capped at like 10%. I know you can negotiate whatever you want, but 10% is what I've always heard classically.
right, yeah, here it's 10%. In like the properties in California are like 7. Actually, no, I think they're 8%. which is for never missed a payment. I'm like, I'll gladly give you 8%. You
Wow.
can have it.
And you
And
know what's
just
beautiful about
I'm
what you're
getting that check every month, and I'm loving it.
and what's beautiful about your setup is that you're not only doing you're not just doing a property in your area. You don't have to. You've in a sense let go and allowed someone else to take the reins, and all you have to do is manage them. And now you could be, a multi-state
Right.
homeowner. That's that
Yep.
that that's
Yep. I
awesome.
would.
And go ahead.
Yeah. Oh, I was gonna say, yeah. That's if you have opportunities or you have relatives in another county, and they put you on something, or they want to sell their own home, they want to help with that, you can easily do it state to state. Yeah, that's what you
I
can
don't know
do.
if you. I don't
And
know if it's.
for
I don't know if
so
it's
I take out
your.
10%, right, for property management, and then I take out another 20% for maintenance and taxes. Yeah, it's probably me.
Hold on. I'm
Am
gonna
I
stop
borging?
the screen. Yeah, you're borging a little bit, but I don't know if it's me. So I'm gonna stop my screen share and then also turn off your video, and hopefully that will help in terms of bandwidth and processing. And I was also like looking at the stream in another window. So and I was cutting you off too, but I also do that regularly. But um yeah, cut off your video and then continue on. Your property management, 7 to 8% out in Cali. My next question is why? Again, social programming. Social programming, in a sense, dictates that we shouldn't be doing this. Normal folk, especially Black folk, shouldn't be doing some shit like this. And then you're doing this across state lines. Like that's some criminal shit. Like why? Like why? How did you break out of that matrix of saying I'm gonna do this across state lines?
There that you just took advantage of it, basically. It's kind of how I moved my mom out here. Sold one of her houses, one of the houses I grew up in as a kid. Used that to invest in the other houses, and just fixed them up. Basically, I mean, they were non revenue producing, and made them revenue producing.
Wow.
And I mean, it was just there. I mean, because I don't know, to be honest, because living in Austin, they were gentrifying the neighborhood left and right, and people were selling left and right, and they have the opportunity to stay, but maybe they just don't have the capital or the vision. I mean, I don't know. I always thought that what one man can do, another can do. If someone else making money is doing A, B, and C, well, I could do A, B, and C too. You know, I might not be able to do A, B, and C at their level, but I can make those same steps. And have a piece of that. So, yeah, that's just how I've always thought. You know,
Yeah, so it just sounds
and
like
I'll be
it's something
honest.
that was
I
more
knew.
natural to you than anything.
Yeah, I think it does a little. Um, but yeah, getting out of the matrix just um, yeah, always. Since I was a kid, like I knew my socio before I knew what socio level was. I knew where I was at, and I knew I wanted to get out of it, and it was just always a hunt for um being better and just making the next level. Um, so yeah, I mean, you just got to, and really, for people, if they just take the time to buy that first house, right?
Mm-hmm.
That first hurdle, and it's like, oh, a lot of information. I signed a lot of papers. I had to go have a lot of phone calls and do all this other trash, but you know, I got the keys,
Mm.
right? It's like, wow, okay, if I've done it once, I can do it again, right? And there are lots of other people that won't take that and will love to pay you rent, right?
Right. Yeah, I
So
mean, willingly giving up that
Yeah, just
ownership.
take advantage of it. So, yeah. So I multiplied by 7 because I'm not getting 30% off of that number. So 10% is. I'm sorry, did I cut you off?
Yeah, no, you're going in and out, and I'm just trying to stay quiet because you're just dropping so much information. I don't
Okay.
know what it is. It looks like, I mean, sometimes it'll show me if I have like crappy signal in my area. Um, but what's it called? Turn off your video feed and see if that helps. I don't know if that's gonna be, usually with transcoding nowadays, that shouldn't be a problem. But start talking now.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yeah, and okay, that may have done it. Okay, go ahead. You were
Okay.
explaining the taking. Oh, I do want to answer one question, and maybe you can help with this as well. Last Zulu said, "Why 20%?" 20%, as I said this in the chat. 20% is industry standard. If you pay less than 20% down payment on a home, that shows to the lender that you can't afford it. You don't have a lot of skin in the game. Now, if you wanted to do less than 20%, you're going to have to pay what they call MIP or PMI, mortgage insurance policy, or a personal mortgage insurance, or property mortgage insurance, or something like that. And essentially, what that is an insurance on the loan just in case you default. Now, this oddly enough was actually a benefit to a lot of people during like mortgage lenders actually like this. And this is, I heard this from somebody, I thought it was weird. They actually liked this during the pandemic, or especially during 2008, when during the housing crisis, when people started losing their house, because now they have mortgage insurance and that loan is insured. So that gave them a bit of a peace of mind, in terms of anything happening to that property or them losing out a great deal. So nowadays you're hearing lenders where they like giving people PMI to a certain extent, and it's also definitely not a big deal. So now you're having programs like, I can do a conventional loan, where that gives me less restrictions, instead of an FHA loan, which is 3.5% down. You will be paying PMI, but then there's restrictions such as you have to stay in the house for 2 years. You really can't turn it into a rental property, I think, is one of the things. And then of course you're going to be paying the PMI, and you may be paying that for the life of the loan, or until you get to where I think you get to, like, I think it's like 80% ownership, and then PMI drops off or something like that. And then you could do things like 3, 5, 10, and then up to 20% conventional loans. But anything under 20, you're usually going to get taxed. You're usually going to get charged mortgage insurance, which is not a lot of money per month, but that's not ideal, and that's not something you want to do. I currently pay that, and in terms of like Florida housing prices, I'm making out like a bandit, and that's kind of my mindset, which is why I don't mind paying it. Freedman, your thoughts after all that?
Oh no, you knocked it out of the park. Only thing I would add is, if you can add value to the property and then get the property reassessed, you can get PMI knocked off. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I'm about to get PMI knocked off on my home. So I can reassess it here in a couple of months, and I won't be paying PMI. So that's another thing.
I'm a little bit on the lazy side, and I definitely need to do things like that. Um, sometimes that's just all that is a call, and then talking to even your loan officer about that.
Yep.
One thing Anti-Gravity said before we get back into the math here, if you already have a mortgage, can you get a second mortgage for less than 20% down? Now, the second mortgage on the same home, because you can get multiple mortgages on one home, and you do that sometimes for home improvements. If you do like a home equity line of credit, that's almost like a second mortgage, or I forgot how they do it, and you can catch me on that one. But you can get a second mortgage on a home, and you can use that to actually use that for investment property. Oh, in some investment properties, depending on what you're doing, yes, 20% is usually what they want. And as Freedman talked about, and he can go into this, they're looking at your net worth. Can you expand on that, Freedman?
Yeah, if you can you get investment property for less than 20% down? Yes. Is it going to be more complicated? Yes. Can you do it without having a lot of assets? Probably not. Um, in general, those are just kind of general guidelines.
What's a lot of
Um,
assets, and what is the number you're looking at? Because that intrigues me, because that's where I'm at.
well, it's relative to the property. Like if you wanted to buy a property that has maybe it's 140, let's call it 150, right? And then you're doing only 10% down on investment property. They're going to want to see that you can cover that balance. So, do you have 100 grand in equity in your current home, right? They're going to be more apt to make that loan to you. If you just bought that home and you only have a couple grand in equity, they'll be less likely to want to give you that money for,
Now,
or get you that property for only 10% down.
now define a couple grand. Are we talking 10, 20?
Oh,
Uh,
I mean like 6 or 7, like the
okay.
kind of money you get when you just buy a house. Like if you just bought a house for 3.5% down, you know
Mm-hmm.
what I mean? Like that that amount of money is not going to impress upon a commercial lender. Be like, oh, sure, give me the money. They're going to want that 20%. So it just varies, but those are kind of the metrics that some people well, that's kind of the metrics that revolve around whether they're going to get you that money or not.
Okay.
So,
Yeah, so anti-gravity, if you have the equity that you stated earlier on in the chat in a property, bro, yeah, they should be giving you happy endings at the mortgage loan office, if anything. So that might be something that you can do. So definitely look into it. And I might want to open up the panel a little bit later. Freeman, I don't know how much time you have, and I definitely want to get into your math here.
okay. Actually, oh yeah, it's 8:51. Yeah, I got a little family time here around 9. So,
Okay, so
um,
we got a couple minutes. Maybe we could do a panel on your channel where you answer these questions. That's actually even better. Um,
okay, yeah.
yeah, and again, we want that by the end of this coming week. Thanks. Um, so
But just to finish
go
this out, so point seven, because I'm taking 10% off the top for the property manager, and then another 20% for taxes or maintenance. Um,
ahead.
which taxes can be built into the loan, right? Or
Yeah,
definitely built into the loan through escrow. But I
taxes,
want to do
insurance,
hmm?
taxes, insurance, things like that.
Yeah, taxes, insurance, maintenance, right? I usually like to take that off the top and make that a sunk cost.
Hmm.
But so 25. So let's go back. We're doing 2,500 in rental income. The estimated monthly cost is 1,332. Gives me 817. Or no, gives me 1168. Multiply that by point 0.7 gives me 817. And we'll take this and multiply it by 12 and $9,800.
And so
So
that's your yearly rental income, and
right.
that's what we're going to use to blow on Gucci belts and Mercedes, right? You're,
I
you're
might get a
laughing.
little
I'm
ammo, but
well, okay, a little country. But
yeah.
so that brings up the next question: what are we doing with that money?
So, well, you're investing, man. You're putting it towards a new property. I mean, if you've already got multiple properties, you might want to work on your net worth with that money, right? Something
Mm.
like this. If you're doing this, you might want to put 8 grand of that into your bottom line and get some net worth, right? If you've got I don't know 10 doors, right? You're like, you know what? I owe 150 grand on this particular property. I want to pay that down to like nothing, right?
Mm.
You just want to work on your net worth. And the thing that makes it work is you already have another job that's paying all of your bills, right? So this $9,800 you don't need, right?
Yeah, so
You're not living off that.
you're saying increase your net worth by paying down your debt.
Oh, correct. Yeah, yeah. Once
Okay.
you get debt free, you only owe last month's bills, and you can take this 9,800 and work on your net worth, right? And then there's this other guy. My wife's telling me about this investor. All he did was buy a condo on a 15-year loan
Mm.
and then pay it off, and he just did that like every 1 to 2 years, right?
Wow.
And that's it. So at the end of 15 years, guess what? He's getting a paid off property, and whatever he's renting for, he's putting
Cash in pocket.
he's putting 70% of that in his pocket. Well, more than that, because he's only paying the property manager and paying taxes. So I'd say he's putting even like 80% of that in his pocket every year. And then another property comes off mortgage. Bam, right? Then another property comes off mortgage. And he's doing that just year after year. And I really advocate real estate because the you don't need an advanced degree. You don't need you don't need to be a mechanical engineer to make money. You know what I mean?
And that I wanted to ask this question, and you give me the perfect segue. In terms of income, somebody making, I mean, who is this for? Is this for owning a property, owning a second property, and getting rental income for a person that's making 40,000 a year? Is this for them? Do they have to make more?
Absolutely. You know what? That'll be my first stream. Well,
Oh,
or the 1 to 2. It is for everybody, right? If you're making 40 grand a year, depending on the area. So the average income, yada yada, is kind of misleading because it really depends on where you're at, right?
exactly.
But if you're living in an urban area, right, and you're making 50 grand and you have a decent credit score, go buy a house. Right. That's it. Just go buy a house. I mean, if I was young, if I was like, maybe if I'm in my early 20s and I was able to make 50 grand a year and I'm in an urban area, I'm going to buy a house and get roommates and let them pay my mortgage, and then, and you can buy that first house on a first time homebuyer program where they'll grant you the money. You just got to live there for 5 years. They'll grant you the money and the closing costs. There's so many programs like that.
That's a very good point, because in local now this stopped during COVID, and they may have started it up recently again, but this stopped because a lot of funds went towards COVID relief. But a lot of actual there's certain counties, towns, especially if you're in a rural area. If you're in a rural area, you can if it's zoned for USDA loans, you can have that. You can also have what he's talking about is down payment assistance. So there are down payment assistance programs that they will, as he said, grant you the money, loan you the money, or roll that all into your payment. So literally, you can come to a closing table where they'll give you down payment assistance. They'll either grant or loan that to you or roll it into your loan. They'll even give you closing cost assistance, where they'll grant or loan that to you and roll that into your loan as well. So you literally can come to the table with nothing. And depending on where you live, this can still, like, moving from a metropolitan area to a rural area, like I like to talk about. This is not how you always have to do it, but you can actually come in and be paying a mortgage. Your mortgage could be what you paid, for a rental, an apartment in your former metropolitan area,
Absolutely.
So, and then you're looking at long-term retirement. You don't need the 1.2 million, $2 million to make it from 65 to 80. Now you're looking at, you maybe need $24,000 a year to cover your taxes, utilities, and things like that. 24,000 over 20 years, you're looking at right under 400 grand.
Yep.
Or in some cases under 400 grand or so. And that's if you pay off your home and everything else like that.
Yeah, and the thing about it is they pay you to do it. I mean, they're literally giving you money, throwing money at you to go buy a home. I mean, and that's what I'm going to go over on my video. They have first time home buyer programs in Atlanta. You can make up to $85,000 a year.
Damn.
And still qualify for these programs.
You gotta be fucking kidding me. You telling me they're giving rich people money?
How you think people are gentrifying the hood?
How the fuck, dude? Are you serious?
Yes, they're like, here, black people come get this money. Black people don't show up, and a neighborhood gets gentrified.
And Anti-Gravity says, I'll take a look into it right away. Got a property in mind right now, and we'll need to look into a manufactured mobile home to put on it. Yeah, so you can put a manufactured mobile home, or you can even get a fifth wheel and drop that bitch on there, and then, have that bitch sitting on a block and some bricks. And, because for the fifth wheel, it rests on something. So you put that little stand down, put a block and some bricks, or you just have them pour a concrete slab, which ain't really nothing. And you can do that. And mortgages are cheaper than rent right now, most definitely. And the people that are, mortgage is a new rent control, if you ask me, because because the amount of money, like, the amount of people that have to pay high exorbitant rents that are raising every year. But a person with a 30-year fixed mortgage, good interest rate, they could refinance to a lower mortgage payment per year.
Hmm. Oh, and that's the other thing is I forgot to mention taxes. Yeah, I have a lot of tax advantages, and um, I reduced my gross income quite a bit by investing in by just buying more stuff for the business, right? And running
Mhm.
those business expenses because they pay you to do it, you know. So that is another aspect. So even if you don't come out that maintenance, right, you can use that maintenance towards your taxes.
Wow, yeah, because that is a tax write-off. And if you do things like provide internet for your tenants or anything else like that, I'm going to take over the screen share real quick to show
Okay, no
something
problem.
really
I'm done.
quickly. Um, but you could do things. One of the things that's very important is to have really good spreadsheets where you can have amortization tables like the one I have here, where I can look at things like, let's zoom in a little bit. I could look at, my total loan amount for my home. This is like the original stuff that I put into the home. And, on a if I did a bi-weekly payment, how much I'm saving in interest if I do multiple payments and things like that. So I can actually put all my payments thus far into this. But I see my mortgage, not invoices, but my mortgage receipts, I guess you would say. I forgot what it is. Statements, my mortgage statement, and I could see where my principal, I'm getting more and more money to principal. I'm paying less and less interest per month because I'm putting extra money to principal.
Right.
And
Nice.
we're looking at, estimated end date for me buying this house in 2020, October 2020, and now my estimated end date is I've cut 9 years off of that, and that's with these numbers. This isn't correct because this is a very old spreadsheet, but this might be another one that I need to go over. There's a gentleman that actually made this spreadsheet, and I gotta find his information. Um, I gotta find his information because his original spreadsheet, I made some changes on it, and he was nice enough to integrate those changes in terms of the calculations and how things are done. But what's nice about this spreadsheet is you can see how much you're putting to your actual principal, actual interest, and how that's going down every month because you're paying that extra to principal. And in some
Hmm.
cases, it's not a lot extra. My monthly extra payment at the time of this is I pay by about 200 or so, 260, I think, extra now because of I just changed my calculation, but $145 extra per month. I mean, for most people making over 60, 70 K, you're not missing that. That's I saw a piece of meat in the store the other day for $131. And it wasn't like some prime rib, fancy cutlet. It was just a big slab of freaking meat, and probably about the length of a rack of ribs, but it was just really thick and just meaty, and it was 130
Oh,
something dollars.
oh, was that the center cut? Like you cut T-bones off of it, or?
I don't think it was that. I forgot what it was. The guy was like, "Man, you looking at it and thinking about it, man, might as well get it." And And I was just like, yeah, man, I kind of should, but I was like, okay, but I want to buy stuff for the building, and I want to buy more parts and stuff. And I was like, nah, man, I'm gonna have to come back for this. I was really thinking about that shit. I would have sold a little bit of cryptocurrency and got that stuff, but I was like, nah, we gotta stay focused. But having amortization tables like this, and hopefully I can find the original and link it. I'll do a search after this here because we do have to get off. Got to respect Freedman's time. But yeah, I'll look this up here and get this. But in closing, Freedman, any other thoughts, things that you want to go over, and also plugging your channel, man? I haven't gotten a link. What's going on?
Oh, sorry. Yeah. Let me get that for you. Just buying. If you're wondering if buying a house is for you, it is.
Yeah.
Um, it's for everyone because like I said, that's going to be in my first video because they're throwing the money at you, literally throwing the money at you, and even beyond the down payment assistance, right, and the not just down payment assistance, but you can get grants for the closing costs too.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of these same areas have what's called CRA. They call them usually community, what they call it, community redevelopment areas. You know, they go
Oh,
by slightly different names in different cities, but basically they're throwing money at projects in those areas. So other builders come in, buy up a block and say, hey, we want to do X, Y, and Z. They'll say, oh, okay, we'll throw another 100 grand at you, right? For free. We'll throw you $100,000 grant to do this project. Right. So there's just so much money um aimed at the hood. Literally. Like they're trying to railgun it. And they're even programs. See, who's that? Erica Williams, right?
yeah, yeah,
Went over this as well, was talking about how there are even grants to maintain your home, right? So you got auntie, uncle, grandparents, whatnot, and their home is a little run down. There are grants and low cost loans for you to maintain that property. So when they pass on, it's not some bombed out reject, right? You can keep the house up. So it's
yeah.
worth something, in the future. They're throwing that money out there. So there's just tons of programs. So if you're wondering if a house is for you, it is. It really is.
Yeah, and
Um,
some of these programs are also funded by local businesses as well because it's a tax incentive for them as well, a write off, if you will. And then, of course, there's just a lot of government programs that we all know about that are out there. Of course, the FHA is one of the more popular ones. There's also the USDA, so the U.S. Department of Agriculture. They actually have a loan program where you literally have to put like where you can put nothing down, but you have to. It depends on your income, and then there's also going to be other restrictions. And so there's income restrictions. So who's going to be living there, and does the people that are living there have a job? So if you're a single parent of any sort, whether you be a single mother, single father, and you want to move to one of these areas where you can work from home, maybe, and maybe get on a better side of things, you can go to an area that actually is zoned for USDA loans. And I believe there's the USDA. If you look on the USDA website, they'll actually show you areas that are zoned for USDA loans. So you actually might like my entire city is USDA capable, USDA eligible.
nice.
So there's things like that, and you might be surprised. Some of these areas, they'll look like there's lower income in that area, but if you go there, that could be your first home. It's not your last.
Right. Right. Yeah. Don't fall in love with the house, man. That's the one thing. These are disposable. They're like socks. Do not fall in love with one. I mean, there's one, you got to pick one you got to live in, right? But other
Mhm.
than that, they're just like Legos, right? They're little assets that you use to do what you want with. Um, so don't romanticize it too much, right? Just get it, right? And let it turn a profit for you.
I'm not gonna lie, Freedman. I'm gonna have to push back on that, and I feel personally attacked. I currently live in my forever home, sir, and I really don't appreciate you making a comment like that. But whatever, whatever. I'm not taking offense to this. I'm trying to respect the guest here, not curse him out. No, but you're totally right. And even with this property, um, I look at it, I totally understand what you're saying. And I look at it as like, okay, if this is something I'm protecting, I got to take the emotion out of it and be logical to make sure that I don't go through that, emotion of losing the home. And that's an important thing too. Like, okay, if if I look at this home and it's maybe I did something stupid, like an arm mortgage, or for my first home, like your main home, I always if you can afford it or apply for it or meet the requirements for it, get a fixed mortgage. But if you get an arm, be prepared for that sucker to an adjustable rate mortgage. Be prepared for that motherfucker to adjust. Now, if you're getting a second property, even my realtor has said, "Hey, she has arms." They're like, "Well, it's a 5-year balloon on the property," and I'm like, "Wow, that sucks." But like Freeman says, if anything happens, it's an investment. It's an asset. It's like Legos. You're building up to a certain point, and it's not something that you should really like, oh my god, you could lose everything, and or you don't want to have that happen to you. So That's a good point, and that's how I frame it for me personally.
Yeah, like just real quick, I'm all right. I'm about to
Yeah,
go,
go ahead.
but my like my one friend, he was in real estate. He owned a house in Austin and sold it like man, like 2017. I'm like, why are you doing that, dude? Just he's like, oh, real estate isn't for me. These guys are messing up my property, and he like shared pictures, and I'm like, dude, that is normal wear and tear, son.
Yeah,
There's nothing wrong with that. I mean, I've seen just horror stories, but um, he ended up saying like, it's not for me, it's not for me, and so he ended up paying off his house, right? And well, he's got like 30K left on what is now probably like a $600,000 home. And it finally dawned on him like, wow, I've got a lot of money here not doing anything. He's like, I really got to get into some property. I was like, yeah, man, I told you this
I
5 years
told
ago.
you, bitches.
But but the thing is, like, don't fall in love with it. You know what I mean? That was the whole thing. Like, okay, you've paid it off, and to what end? Now you have no rent, but now you realize, now that you've done that, you realize, hey, this could be working for me, right? So, and that's the thing. That's what you got. The equity is everything, right? It's just a house. So that's it. Thanks for having me, Young Grizzly. Appreciate it.
Thank
And
you so much. And I'm putting your channel in the chat right now. I just saw that you put it out there. Guys, go ahead and subscribe to his channel. Let's get him to the next level in terms of, how many subscribers he's got. He's got 18 subscribers. He's a freaking teenager. Let's get him into his 20s here or something, So, guys, definitely go ahead and check out his channel. I'll try and find the link for that amortization channel table. And fight the social programming. Own something. Go towards ownership. Go towards getting assets. If it's not a home, buy fucking REITs. Get into the stock market, invest, go from middle class and what's it called? Middle class earnings to being a Henry. And then one day you can evolve like a fucking Pokemon to be a high value man, and then go on beyond that and become a masters of the universe. Like, let's go. We got to up our octanes, guys. And I'm saying that seriously. I'm not making a slight at Kevin whatsoever. But like, these are levels that we should be trying to achieve and attain. We should be trying to get to these points, if not for ourselves, for our future family members. If not for them, fuck them. Just so you can have money during your retirement, so you can pay for your blue chews, so your dick can still stand up, so you can, fuck the young. Okay, I'm going off the rails here, but you guys get it. Thank you so much, Freedman's Journal, for he has no videos on the channel. Freedman, I can send you a link on how to rip this from this channel, and then you could put that as your first video. And he said by the end of tomorrow he's going to get us his first video, and go from there. But yeah, he will be doing some content, guys. So go ahead and subscribe, and as soon as he puts content out, I will share it. But thank you guys so much for listening. Thank you, Freedman Journal. Appreciate you being transparent and giving us this information. I appreciate you so much.
Yeah, no problem. Glad to do it. All right. Have a good night.
All righty, guys. Talk to y'all later.